Hello and welcome to this weekly Corona nonsense video. This is going to be a new feature I'm going to do here, talking about some of the things that we're dealing with, that we're seeing, the abuses of power that we're seeing on behalf of various elected officials, and some of the crazy ideas that are coming out of their mouths. Okay, so we're going to start off with our weekly nonsense. I'm going to call this weekly Corona nonsense video that we're going to start doing. It's going to be a new feature now on my channel. And this is the biggest nonsense thing of all. The MTA could consider a reservation-only system for New York City's subways and buses. That's not the way public transportation works. So, I'm not going to read the whole article to you, but it says the MTA is already, and now for this I agree with, is already testing social distancing markers at some stations to show where riders can stand 6 feet apart. So that's not a bad idea. This thoughts concerning me though. The MTA is also considering amping up surveillance systems in subway, car stations, and buses to further control crowds. Because they want to control the number of passengers, and I can understand that. But, when things reopen, you're not going to be able to do that. And then this was the crazy thing. Foye suggested, this is Pat Foye, Chairman Pat Foye, the guy, the worst MTA chairman that we've ever seen. He suggested that riders in the future could even be asked to reserve a spot on a bus or train ahead of time in order to reduce crowd density and mandate safe distance. I think agencies around the world have done things like metering, Foye said on the Wall Street Journal's The Journal podcast earlier this week. What did I tell you? This guy's with Wall Street, all right? I think there ought to be consideration of reserving a space at least for some period of time on a subway or bus using, for instance, the technology that we are familiar with, the Ticketmaster uses. This is crazy. This is not real. Who's going to check all this stuff? How many people are you going to have to hire? How much is this going to cost? This is unenforceable. This is public transportation. People use it and come and go as they please. And not everybody has a job where they get off at the exact same time. This is totally unrealistic. This just shows you how out of touch Pat Foye really is. And my friend Andy's Randomness, and as well as Andy from NYC, did a video also criticizing this, and honestly, I think this is preposterous. This is absolutely preposterous. Just have everybody wear a mask. If everybody wears a mask on the subway, and tries to stay 6 feet apart. Like in this picture, it looks like people are fairly far apart there. All right, so if people wear a mask and stand distant from each other, why do you need reservations? This guy's lost his freaking mind. Nobody's going to listen to this. You're going to destroy the whole transportation system. It's called public transportation. There's no public transportation system in the world that relies on reservations. And, I've got to blame Cuomo for appointing this knucklehead to the MTA. Unbelievable. So, the next story that I'm going to show you is about News 12. And News 12 was recently attacked. So this is why fake News 12 is attacked. It says, study, loud talking could be enough to spread the coronavirus. So they keep trying to make people scared. This is what News 12 does. They're a fear machine, all right? And not surprisingly, I'm going to find it right here. Where is it? Here we go. Not surprisingly, there was a protest in Commack, and people got heated. And this is the beginning of people getting fed up with this lockdown. So basically, the news, Kevin Vesey, he said, the level of anger directed at the media from these protesters was alarming. As always, I will tell a fair and unbiased story today. All right, look, I feel bad for the guy. He was harassed. But I don't feel bad for News 12. Because News 12 has been pushing an agenda, and now it's coming to bite them. Even the President of the United States has now called out News 12. Donald Trump has called out News 12. All right? Yeah, I know it got a little rowdy. Let me see if we could play the video here on the Twitter here. You'll see it got a little rowdy. And I'm not saying I support what these the way these protesters yelled at the guy. All right, because I certainly don't. Can we get sound?
Airing the Trump briefings and you keep airing Cuomo briefings. Go home, you fake news. Go home.
You are the enemy of the people. You are fake news. You are the enemy.
We all know it. You are fake news. We know about your liberal agenda. We know you want to keep your job. We get it. You're not getting advertiser dollars in right now.
You're not going to answer, so you're just going to go live.
Yes, I am getting a paycheck.
I'm very happy, but other people are not getting paychecks, and they're
That's why
not
we're
getting.
here.
You used to be a good channel at one time. I don't know what happened to you.
Yep. Those guys are right. They're right. The protesters are right. I'm so glad to see News 12 finally called out. All right? I'm so glad. They finally got called out by these people. So I'm going to provide the link to that in the video as well. I'm so glad. All right? And, I'm so glad. We're heading for a depression. Here's one of the comments. We're heading for a depression if people can't get back to work. Maybe, and hear me out, people are angry at the news because of all the lying that's been going on over the last 3 years and the journalists refusing to take responsibility for it. So News 12 has an agenda. We know that they have an agenda. And now they've finally been caught, and I feel bad for the guy, Kevin Vesey, who got caught in the middle. It's not his fault. It's his employer. Ever since Altice took over News 12, the channel has changed, and it's become geared to a certain demographic. It's been geared to, it's trying to push an agenda. It's trying to push like this, it's like becoming like CNN. I hate CNN. All right, so we'll leave it at that. All right. So we have that going on, and then we have this ridiculousness here. Pennsylvania governor threatens to permanently shut down cowardly business owners who want to reopen. So this is what you have. You have some of these, and the one in Michigan, forgot her name already, but you have, these politicians, they are trying, because basically a court threw out, this was what happened in Michigan with Whitmer. I can Google that up. Whitmer actually took away the license of a place that refused to shut down, even though the court threw out her order. This is ridiculous. This is what these people are doing. All right, so let's go to this. Study projects over 100,000 small businesses have permanently closed already. All right, so this is what you're doing. We are destroying the economy. I don't understand why these places can't reopen and just have everybody wear a mask and social distance. If we can go to the supermarket and have to wear a mask and social distance, why can't we go into a small business? What is the reason? Why can't we sit in a restaurant 6 feet apart? This is ridiculous. All right, even Arizona is reopening. All right, Flagstaff is following suit. And yeah, the governor there is a Democrat, so not every single Democrat out there wants to be a dictator. All right. Luckily, Doug Ducey doesn't want to be a dictator. He's actually letting a lot of the restaurants open. All right, in Arizona, but no, not Cuomo, not Cuomo. Cuomo won't let the restaurants reopen. So, and he did extend the. There was another article here. Let's see, where is it? Yeah, here we go. I don't know where it was. But it says in here that it was not extended to June 14th. It was extended to May 28th. All right, because it's done in, so Long Island and New York City will remain under a pause order that Cuomo's extended until May 28th. Non-essential business on Long Island and the 4 other regions that remain fully under the order will remain closed until the regions meet these benchmarks set by the state. And the problem with these benchmarks, we're going to go over to them right now. So, particularly, there needs to be a grace zone, all right? So, it's like if you fall below the 30%, they require a 30% share of hospital beds available. Now, normally, there's usually under 30% hospital beds available. So, some of this is really unrealistic, some of these numbers that he wants, all right? And people are losing their patience. You're going to see more protests like that. And I'm gonna have my commentary on that later, but I'm just showing you the data here. Fortunately, Long Island is back up to meeting 5 to 7 of the benchmarks, and once we meet 7 out of 7, we can go on into the phase 1. But phase 1 doesn't even include restaurants. I mean, why am I talking about restaurants so much? Because the restaurant industry is being destroyed. They're being hit harder than almost everybody out there, all right? And I think it's ridiculous that people can't go inside and sit in the restaurant as long as they're 6 feet apart. I think it's freaking ridiculous, Governor. I think it's ridiculous, all right? It makes no freaking sense what you're doing right now, all right? It really makes no freaking sense. It really makes no freaking sense. And then we go to New Jersey here, where we're going to look at this here. And this video here, which basically says, don't forget to mask up and follow social distancing guidelines to protect yourself and fellow visitors from COVID-19. Why do you need to wear a mask in a park? You're outside. You know, you're going to have people collapsing. It's hard to walk and hike when there is when you're hiking and you're exercising, you're wearing a mask. You should only wear a mask when you're in an enclosed space with other people that you can't be 6 feet away. But hey, this is New Jersey for you. I'm not wearing a mask when I hike. That's ridiculous. I'll gladly wear it everywhere else, but not when I hike. All right, that's ridiculous. So this is some of the stories I think we've gone through here, but by far the most ridiculous is this. But this is what you have. And here's one more reason why lockdowns don't work. So, who has now? Let's see who has the most cases here of any state in the country. Why is it New York? Even though we have all these orders, why is New York still up there at the top? Meanwhile, let's look at some of the states that have opened up. Florida has started to open up. I don't have a chart for them. I don't know if we can get a chart for them. Let's see if we can get a chart for them. These are all I see. It shows all the counties. I'd like to see total cases. So it looks like the amount of total cases has actually gone down, even though they've opened. The rate of new cases. Now, isn't that interesting? All right. Let's look at another state that's opened here. Where's Georgia? Because I know Georgia got a lot of criticism. I can't get they don't have the whole data, but it looks like they're down there. Not even any new deaths. Let's go further to down here. Arizona has a lot less new cases. So let's go even further down the list here. West Virginia, hardly any. I'm not going to go that far, but you get the point, is that lockdowns don't work. The lockdown was meant to, or the shutdown was meant to stop the hospitals from getting overwhelmed. And we did that. So why are we still shut down? Now I'm going to talk about why I think that we're going to be looking at 4 more years of Donald Trump. So we all know that Donald Trump mismanaged this whole thing from day one. All right, we all know that. We all know that he could have, and should have acted much sooner to protect us, and he didn't. He completely underestimated the virus. We understand that. But people are looking at what's going on right now. And when people see that, by and large, it's these Democratic governors that are keeping their states under shutdowns and lockdowns and keeping businesses closed and moving the goalposts around. This is another phrase that's been used a lot. They move the goalposts. In the beginning, they're like, well, we got to flatten the curve so the hospitals don't get overwhelmed. Well, we flatten the curve. The hospitals aren't overwhelmed, and yet we're still shut down. And then they say, well, we're trying to prevent more deaths now. Or we're trying to, we don't want the cases to go back up again. Some of them, even the Los Angeles mayor is like, well, we're going to stay shut down until there's a cure, which could be a year or more. And this is what's causing people to turn against the Democrats. It is the Republicans that are opening their states. It is the Republicans that are letting business resume. It is the Republicans that are letting people have their freedom back. All right? While the Democrats, people like Phil Murphy, are trying to hold on. And it's not just Phil Murphy. All right? It's Tom Wolfe. It's Andrew Cuomo. I hate to lump Andrew Cuomo in there with people like like Whitmer and Newsom, but they're all basically telling us, well, you got to stay home, or non-essential businesses cannot open. You cannot eat in a restaurant. This nonsense. You can't go to the mall. And they are completely unaware of the devastation it's doing to the economy and the devastation it's doing to people's mental health. And these protests that you see are only going to get worse. They're only going to get more numerous and more rowdy. I'm not saying I agree with the way the protesters are behaving themselves. I think that they should have been wearing masks and they should have been distancing. All right? But we need to open up. We can't make these excuses anymore. All right? We got to open up. And we've got to do it soon. And this is not rushing. People's livelihoods are at stake. Are we going to throw away hundreds of thousands of jobs, hundreds of businesses, no, thousands of businesses? Are we going to throw this all away because of this? It seems like that's what these people on the left want to do. And this is going to help Donald Trump win his second term. I don't see Joe Biden winning this election. I'm sorry. As long as these shutdowns continue, these states in New York particularly, we have more and more people here that are getting fed up with the governor and his shutdown. All right? We understand and agreed why it was done in the first place. But it should have been lifted already. This has gone on for too long. Businesses are suffering. People's livelihoods are being closed. And there's no reason behind it. Because if you can go into a supermarket, in a busy supermarket, and wear a mask and stay 6 feet apart, why can't you go into the mall? It makes no sense. It makes no damn sense. Why can't you go into Macy's? Why can't you go into Best Buy? Why can't you go into a restaurant if the tables are 6 feet apart? This is ridiculous. All right, I'm talking about the rest. It's not just because I'm frustrated over it. It's because it's because of all the small restaurants out there, and they're all suffering. It doesn't matter whether they're in the middle of the island or on the South Shore. Everybody is suffering from this. And now Memorial Day is upon us, and this governor thinks he can continue to keep us in shutdown on Memorial Day weekend. It's unbelievable. It really is unbelievable. And then some of the crazy ideas coming out of his MTA, like reservations to ride a train. This is just another way they're going to take away our freedom. And then those will say, well, John, this is just the way it is. We gotta prevent the spread of the virus. Let's throw away our entire economy and throw away our freedoms and civil liberties over a virus that kills 1% of its people, and probably less than that. Let's do that. Right? So this is why Donald Trump, because Donald Trump is good at one thing, and that's looking good in front of the camera. All right? Even when he's berating reporters, and what he did to Wei Zhujiang was horrible and despicable at that meeting. Horrible. He's a racist. He's a liar. He's a con man. But because the Democrats are so screwed up in their way of thinking, and because they think that they can just keep us under shutdown for as long as they'd like, that is a major problem. And that is going to help Donald Trump. Donald Trump knows how to capitalize on that. He knows how to capitalize on that very well. And that's why we're going to see him get reelected in November, unless the Democrats start ending this shutdown. All right? What would I do if I was Andrew Cuomo? I would open up the state already. I would say, next Friday, we open up the state. All right? We open up the state. We open up the malls. We open up the restaurants. We open up the stores. We open up all the businesses, but we keep the social distancing guidelines. And we start off, like I told you my plan in the other video, we start off with like 30% of normal, and then we slowly increase the capacity in these places. But we've got to get money flowing again. And people say, oh, it's about money. Yeah, well, people do need money to survive, to pay the rent, to buy food, to put a house over their head, roof over their head. Yeah, people need money for that, Mr. Cuomo, all right? So that's the thing I feel, and I know I'm going to get some hate for it. Look, when I made that video about Day of Defiance, I made one major mistake in it. And the major mistake was saying, no, I'm not willing to have any confrontation with the police over this, all right? If where I go is closed to eat inside, then I have to eat outside, and that's just the way it is. But if you are a small business owner, and if you are, I can't tell you what to do. If you want to go ahead and defy some of this, go ahead. Especially if you're a business and you need to open up, or you will close for good. I don't want to see any more businesses close over this. If you feel that you have to open your business and defy these orders, you go ahead and defy them. Because it is time for this damn shutdown to end. It's gone on already a month too long. It isn't supposed to last more than a month or two. And now we're at over 2 months of this damn shutdown. And he thinks he can continue it into June? He's got another thing coming. Oh, well, the metrics aren't there. Well, you're taking, look, I love science as much as the next person. But there's only so much people can take mentally. There's only so much people can take mentally. And then they're going to crack. And then we're going to have huge problems. All right? So that's the way I feel about it. I know a lot of people are on the left are going to disagree with what I said. Like I said, I don't agree with everything on the right. I don't agree with everything on the left. I'm not happy that this is going to help Donald Trump, but I think it's going to help Donald Trump. All right? And it's going to help all the Republicans out there, because it's the Republicans that are opening up their states. It's the Republicans that are letting people breathe again. Whereas the Democrats, by and large, want to keep us in this state. And people are not meant to live like this. That's something the Democrats just don't seem to realize. This was meant as a temporary measure, and it's gone on for too long. They're going to try to take away our summer, and I'm not having any of it. You shouldn't either. We all have to join together and start opening up, whether the governor or anyone else likes it or not. We need to do it responsibly. We know how to stop the spread of the virus by wearing masks, by trying to stay 6 feet apart, cleaning cleaning and sanitizing our surfaces. But we have to get outside and start enjoying life again. Because the sad thing is, there are people still dying of other things every day, and those people aren't even getting to enjoy their life because of this. We need to start living our lives again and take back our freedom, whether the government likes it or not, because the government is supposed to represent us. Instead, the government is telling us what to do like we're children or something. We are the United States of America, and we will not stand for this kind of tyranny anymore. Thank you for watching.